Multiversus has officially launched. The new platform fighter on the block boasts a roster of characters across WB's all-encompassing media empire, and with each new season bringing more fighters and more content, it's ready for the long haul. Super Who Brothers? Okay, you know what? Let's not pit the two games against each other like that. Anyway, Season 1 is officially underway, and it's set to bring a batch of new fighters from TV, comics, movies, you name it. So I figured, why not put my analysis skills to use for the first time in a while and see what these characters' movesets might be like. Except Morty. He'll probably be out by the time this video's done, so there's little point. But we can talk about everyone else, including someone connected to one of these characters who hasn't been officially revealed yet. Fair warning, this will delve into some leak talk pertaining to one character's moveset and another's existence, so make sure you're cool with short-term spoilers before you watch on. Alrighty then, let's delve into the multiverse and see how these guys might fight. Up first is another fighter from DC. That didn't take long. Teth Adam was an ordinary man born 5,000 years ago in the Egypt-like kingdom of Kahndaq. Okay, maybe not ordinary, he was born a slave. That changed one fateful day when an old wizard granted him incredible powers, but when he misused them, the wizard had him sealed away for millennia. Reawakened in the present day to a very different world, this morally gray figure and rival to this guy will stop at nothing to achieve his goals, no matter how many skulls he has to crack to do so. Also, he's got a movie coming in October, and that's probably why he's getting into Multiversus so quickly. Undeserving shill pick or clever use of relevance to spotlight a less-known character. Depends on if you think the game has too many anime comic book superheroes yet. Alright guys, bear with me. I only have passing knowledge of his comics, but based on some research, I have some ideas for how Black Adam might have been designed. His core powers include super strength, flight, 9 vulnerability, you know, the usual flying brick tool set. But since we already have one of those, and I doubt they're dipping into semi-clones so quickly, whatever they're doing here must be a different take than how they built Superman. I think the key will be Adam's more distinct power, his ability to create and control lightning. Yeah, that symbol on his chest ain't just for show. He'll probably have several electric moves as specials or normals, building him around a completely different element than Soup's ice breath and heat vision. I could see a special where he electrocutes an enemy in range with the ability to hold the button down and keep dealing damage until the meter empties while he watches his victim writhe in pain. There is a shock status ailment already in the code, dealing damage over time that also hurts nearby allies, and that sounds like a natural fit for him to build around. Some of Adam's other moves could tap into his more brutal, less principled personality that made him an overt villain in the Silver Age, an edgy hero in the 90s when those were all the rage, and a complex character who doesn't fit completely into either nowadays. His punches, tackles, and other melee attacks ought to be stronger and more painful looking than Superman's practiced discipline. Adam doesn't just want to subdue his opponents, he wants to break them. All of this would lead into an offense-oriented tank playstyle, less interested in protecting his teammate and more into armoring through enemy attacks and destroying anyone who dares get in his way. He'd have super armor on a lot of stuff, though potentially with poor mobility and iffy frame data to keep it balanced. Doesn't mean Adam would lack team synergy though. He does have the ability to share some of his powers with those he deems worthy. Maybe he could give his teammate temporary armor or gray health. Maybe he could electrify them so their own attacks apply the shock status. Maybe it'd shock foes who attack them directly instead. A lot of possibilities here. Next is someone you've known about for a while if you've had an ear to the ground. The very first leak of Multiversus late last year caught the collective internet by surprise, in no small part because of its character lineup. Among them was a certain old nihilistic mad scientist with a thirst for wild adventures and an infinite number of worlds at his fingertips. Half the main duo of a now long-running Adult Swim sci-fi show, Rick Sanchez may well be one of the smartest beings in all of existence, but he's also a deadbeat sociopath with a drinking problem and a whole host of mental issues. His grandson's already slotted in as Season 1's first newcomer, but Rick's set to show up next, whenever he feels like it, to cause some mayhem and maybe keep Morty out of trouble. With all the universe hopping he already does, throwing hands with all these icons is just another Tuesday for him. Hopefully I get this right. I've only seen like 3 episodes of Rick and Morty. Look, the writing doesn't do it for me, okay? We'll be handling this differently from the other characters because Rick has enough data in the game already that some people smarter than I got him in working order, so we know what his moves do already. Let's do a brief breakdown. Rick's neutral normal uses his trusty blaster for either fox-like rapid fire or a charge shot that works like a ZSS paralyzer without the stun. His up and down grounded normals summon a Mr. Meeseeks to attack for him. The latter has Meeseeks run forward a ways like Zelda's Phantom, controlling that immediate space. His signature specials are where things get crazy. Rick's neutral special lets him create two-dimensional portals, one next to him and another wherever he aims. Anyone who gets hit into one portal, or enters it willingly, comes out the other. Talk about thinking with, And his down special is a delayed explosion that polymorphs anyone in range. If Rick or his teammate are hit, they literally get bigger and stronger for a while. But any enemies caught in the blast are turned into tiny rain dogs that can't attack and take extra damage and knockback if they're hit with anything. Good thing it's temporary. The other specials are just burst options with Rick-specific flair. Pretty standard stuff for closing gaps and recovering, though Multiversus letting you use 2 specials per airtime gives you flexibility when recovering on the off chance you don't want to just make a portal. As you can see, Rick uses his many projectiles to zone opponents out while setting up galaxy brain stuff using portals or a well-timed polymorph, though he definitely wants to keep opponents at a distance because his up-close options aren't that great. Has a decent pseudo-jab with his grounded forward normal, but his Meeseek summons are slow, and his melee aerials have awkward hitboxes. His up air pierces armor at least, but it seems like he doesn't want to rely on close range stuff if he can help it. Par for the course for the mage class. Is it getting spooky in here, or is it just me? Somewhere in the world, hidden away from prying eyes, there exist strange creatures called mogwai. They're cute in a weird kind of way, and surprisingly intelligent, but those who care for one must remember 3 things. Don't let them near bright light, it hurts them. Don't get them wet, or they spawn more by budding like a sea sponge. And whatever you do, don't feed them after midnight, or they transform into gremlins. That's how this ugly son of a bitch happened. Like all gremlins, Stripe's small stature belies a monstrous, savage nature, prone to going on violent rampages, tormenting innocent people, and causing as much destruction as he can because he finds it fun. We don't have moveset data for this one, so work with me here as I do as best I can for someone who hasn't actually seen any of the Gremlins movies. I know. Stripe comes off as an assassin type. He wants to sneak around, infiltrate opponents' personal spaces, and cause as much pain and suffering as possible. Especially if he's on the smaller side. Could be really light and prone to early ring-outs, but also be annoying and difficult to hit. Would fit right into the pixie archetype in fighting game terms, though don't let him find out it's called that. For actual attacks, well, in the first film, Stripe does borrow a lot of everyday objects and weaponize them, so I bet his moveset will whip several of those out. Riding a tricycle at breakneck speed as a burst option? Fair game. A command grab where he ties someone up in Christmas lights so he or his teammate can chuck him somewhere? Maybe. Swinging a freaking chainsaw for a multi-hit chargeable attack that pierces armor? Oh boy. And if they find a way to work in the straight-up gun he steals in the first movie without the ratings boards raising hell about it, all bets are off. Throw in some clawing or biting moves to round out the kit, and there you go. Gremlins are strongest in numbers, so I bet Stripe's team assist tools involve making his teammate more capable of jumping into the fray with him. Buffed mobility, stronger attacks, better team combo options, etc. Maybe it involved him giving them a candy bar he, found? I also wonder if they'll work Gremlin's natural weaknesses into the moveset. Will fire or light elemental attacks deal more damage to Stripe than other fighters? Hard to say. But that's not all. Stripe may have snuck away into the multiverse to cause chaos on his own, but someone else has followed him. Most mogwai are conniving little creatures, seeking out any chance to feed late at night so they can transform, but not all of them are evil. A rare few would rather stay as they are, actively avoid allowing more gremlins to come into existence, and help their human caretakers fight back should any try to harm them. One such mogwai is Gizmo, one of the Gremlins film's main characters, the being who spawned Stripe through a freak accident, and his mortal enemy. Unfortunately for the two of them, data miners found evidence that Gizmo and Stripe are inexorably connected, 2 characters functioning as one fighter. Surprising since this isn't a transformation thing. They're 2 different individuals who hate each other's guts and would never work together if they could help it. Exactly how they'll swap places during fights is unknown so far, but it seems they'll be the game's first example of such a thing. We also don't know how much Gizmo's moveset will diverge from Stripe's, and that'll determine how he stands out next to his evil counterpart. Will it be like Sheik and Zelda used to be? Two completely different movesets awkwardly stapled together that frees each of them to do their own separate thing, with not quite complete movesets since one special is reserved for the swap? Or will it be more like Pyra and Mithra, where their normals have similar animations with different stats and their specials are distinct? Well, not completely similar normals, since Gizmo isn't a violent maniac. Maybe his version of Stripe biting or clawing at someone would have him just do a headbutt or bat at the air playfully. Either way, Gizmo's docile nature would give him a very different playstyle. Maybe a straight-up support class, more interested in helping his team than beating people up. Though 2 movies worth of character development means he will fight back if he needs to, or if his enemies push him too far. Gizmo is also less prone to borrowing things than Stripe is, but the film showed him to be a very fast learner who can improvise when necessary. There's one scene where he drives a toy car to catch up to Stripe, which could work as a counterpart to the latter's tricycle move. Gizmo also has legit musical talent, and maybe he could sing to buff an ally or pull out a trumpet and play a quick melody. Oh, and they'll definitely find a way to work in the flaming bow and arrow he builds on the fly to slay a reincarnated Stripe in the second movie. Too iconic not to include. There we have it, a closer look at 4 of the characters coming to Multiversus in Season 1. A superhuman warrior who destroys all opposition, a mad scientist who thinks with portals, a monstrous gremlin who revels in violence, and his do-gooder counterpart sworn to stop him. Each boasts their own archetype, signature abilities, and character class. Wow, they really are all different classes. Was that on purpose or just a coincidence? Multiversus is handling its updates in a very different way from Smash. Interested to see how this plays out for the next few months, or however long this season lasts. I'm also interested to see how they handle some other characters rumored to show up soon. For now, special thanks to these people for helping make this video happen. Thanks as well to my patrons for your continued support, even if I stumbled a little getting a video out this month. Next one's coming soon, don't worry. So, until next time, that's all. Wait, no, I said that last time. Well, this is awkward.